You can observe.
Yeah, please. Good morning. Sit down. So your native is Kozhikode.
Yes, sir.
Amrutha, there is one god woman in your native by name Amruthanandamai, right?
Yes, sir.
Why is she worshipped? All across the state as well as some part of the country.
So the worshipping of a god woman or any kind of human god arises because humans naturally seek for instant gratification, and that kind of things, or any emotional or spiritual needs that may be driving people towards human gods.
So Kerala is high in literacy rate, right?
Yes, sir.
So how does this go side to side?
So many a times we may not see the correlation between high literacy and such things. Sometimes in Kerala we can see the youth are suffering from identity crisis because there is high level of educated unemployment, and the aspirational mismatch is very much prevailing in the Kerala society, and the literacy may not percolate in the case of, like, if people are going for faith and all, the literacy may not result in the scientific temper in people.
So you don't mind demeaning your own state. So far you have demeaned your state to the extent possible.
So not only in Kerala, we can see such kind of trend in every part of world. In every part of world, even the Amrutha is revered in Japan also, and many part of.
Most of our devotees are international as well.
Yes, sir.
So this phenomenon is not restricted to Kerala.
Yes, sir.
What is your option? Psychology?
No, sir. It's literature of Malayalam.
Literature of Malayalam language. Okay. Who is your favorite author in Malayalam?
So my favorite author is Vaikam Muhammad Bashir.
Who is he? Who is what did you say?
Vaikam Muhammad Bashir.
Who is Bashir? Mr. Bashir?
So he is a realistic writer who wrote at the time of Purogamana Kala Sahitya that time, and
that's a Malayalam word, or what is that?
Yeah.
Purogamana
Kala Sahitya Sangam.
What does that mean?
So it's a progressive kind of writing.
Progressive, okay.
Yes, sir.
So I should understand that he was an activist kind of a writer.
So per se, we cannot say like Sarah Joseph and all. He's not an activist kind of.
Who is Sarah Joseph, by the way?
So she's a prominent writer in Malayalam.
Sarah Joseph.
Sarah Joseph.
Okay.
She's a feminist writer.
Feminist writer. Okay. So Mr. Bashir is your favorite writer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. He's read all across Kerala?
Yes, sir. He's read all across Kerala and also in the world.
Okay. His works are translated
by R.E. Asher to many foreign languages.
Okay. One more question from my side and the other people will take over. Your option is Malayalam literature, right?
Yes, sir.
And what is your first preference for the service?
So it is IAS.
IAS,
Administrative Service.
Right.
Amrutha,
Yes, sir.
in fact, we straight away went into the question mode. Do you want to say something about yourself?
So I can briefly introduce myself.
Sure.
I'm Amrutha and I hail from Kozhikode district of Kerala. And I have done my graduation in economics from Samuel School College, Kozhikode.
Okay.
And thereafter I pursued post-graduation in development policy, planning and practice from Tata Institute of Social Sciences. And thereafter I have been preparing for civil services, and my interests include quizzing and listening to South Indian cinematic melodies and Carnatic music.
So would you consider yourself to be part of the educated unemployed?
So if I go by the definition, I'm not unemployed, sir. So because I'm not actively, sorry sir, I'm unemployed. I am actively seeking for employment and still I'm not employed.
Are you employable?
Yes, I believe I am employable.
You not only have pursued economics, but you're actually your interest, you have gotten awards, etc. in economics, right?
So during my college days,
Do you know about Phillips curve?
Yes, sir. Phillips curve, with the rate of increase in interest rate, we may not witness the commensurate increase in the income because the tax base may decrease, and that is the U-shape.
Phillips curve with respect to inflation and unemployment.
Okay, sir. I'm sorry, sir. Uh,
Because you brought the issue of unemployment.
yes, sir.
That's why I asked. So, are you aware of Phillips curve? How does it function? What is the current economic state in India like?
So
Can you
currently,
explain it based on the Phillips curve or the correlation there?
yes, sir. Usually with inflation and the unemployment rate may decrease because if at the time of inflation, the demand may be more and the economic activity will be in full swing, and usually the unemployment will decrease at the time of inflation. And if we consider the current economic scenario, India is doing pretty well in terms of growth rate, around 6.2, and for the coming year we are projecting around 7.4 percentage of GDP growth. In that sense, and we also have a we also have small level of inflation. In that sense, the economy will be growing and there will be more employment generation.
Do you consider right now a high inflation scenario or a low inflation scenario?
So I think it's low inflation scenario.
What is the band that RBI has given for inflation? Targeted band?
So it's 2 plus or 4 plus or minus 2.
So we are within the band.
I think so, we are within that.
Okay. You said something about feminist writing.
Yes,
So
sir.
is there any opposite of it, like masculine or?
So there must be something like that, but I am not.
Is there anything in Malayalam literature like that?
So if you consider the early Malayalam literature, we can see many kind of. We may not see the explicit masculinity, but in many Manipravala kavyas, and that is considering women as an object. In that sense, masculinity can be seen in earlier Malayalam literature.
What's your view on Sabrimala?
So I actually support the women's entry in Shabarimala, but there should be a conducive social atmosphere, and otherwise it will may result in social backlash and collapse of the law and order system. So there should be conducive.
That is your wish. That
Yes, sir.
But what is your reasons for it? Like, what are your reasons for it?
So, if you consider the constitutional article, the right to religion is a fundamental right. So, women also have the right to religion, and the women are banned from Shabarimala because of the menstrual taboo, and that, as per the Supreme Court verdict, the taboo, the discrimination based on such kind of taboo can be considered under the untouchability issue. So, if we are going by the constitutional article, women have the right to worship.
Are there new god women coming up?
So I'm not aware of that.
And unemployment is increasing, right?
Yes, sir.
So there is a chance.
So I'm actually unemployment is one of the reasons, one of the minor reasons, and people are suffering from the aspirational mismatch. So that might be the reason for that.
So, Amrutha, can you define economics for me? As you have been a student of economics.
So, pardon, sir?
Can you define economics?
So, I'll say economics is the optimum allocation of limited resources. The study about optimum allocation of resources into multiple areas.
So, whether you put economics as an art or as a science?
So, I would like to consider economics as a science.
So it should be BSc economics more than BA economics, right?
Yes, in many part of our country we have BSc. Like for example, Gokul.
What is the difference between science? What is the aspect that makes it science and not arts?
So in science, there will be always a something in science talk about something that is proven, and there is scope for experiment and to prove that particular thing.
Yeah, expand. How do you define science there?
So if we have something that is capable of proving, then that is science. And arts at the same time, it's more centered or around human life in the sense, and there may not often we won't get any reason behind that.
So economics is proven.
So in many cases, economics is proven, and if we consider the macroeconomic situation, we can analyze like market forces are determining the demand and supply. In that sense, economics can be proven.
Immigration it causes the quality of life to decrease. Is it right?
So sometimes,
Let's say there is a high immigration
yes, sir.
of labor.
So,
Right, according to the demand and supply, it should, the labor supply should increase, so the price of the labor should reduce. Right, if the price of the labor reduces, the quality of life should decrease.
yes, and that will depend on the situation. If the labor is very much productive and they are contributing to the tax income of that particular destination, then the economic that place will experience economic boom.
There is a unique thing about the Nobel Prize in economics. Do you have any idea about that? What that unique thing is?
So,
It is related to what you just said.
in my limited understanding, I think it was firstly there was no Nobel Prize for economics. Then later, Alfred Nobel didn't establish a prize for economics. Then later, they established Nobel Prize for economics, and it's apart from peace. I think it's the sorry, sir, I'm not able.
There is a procedural unique thing about the Nobel Prize in economics. You can get a Nobel Prize to prove a theory, and you can get a Nobel Prize to disapprove the same theory, which is not there for any other scientific. That's why I wanted to know whether it's an art or it's in science.
Okay, sir, thank you for mentioning.
Okay, so Amrutha, we can see that you mentioned cooking as one of your hobbies.
Yes, sir.
So recently there has been a controversy around the movie based on cooking. Are you aware of that?
Yes, sir.
seen
The
the
Great
movie?
Indian Kitchen. You mean?
It's of
It's a very recent movie.
very recent. It's there on Netflix. Have you heard about the controversy?
No, sir. I'm sorry. I'm not aware of that.
Okay, let me just read it. So there was a movie on Netflix, Annapurni, right, where she aspired to be a great chef, but she was a daughter of the head cook of a temple. Right? So she could not, like during her learning days, cook non-veg food basically. But then she, in her later days, she learns to cook non-veg and eat non-veg. So now Netflix has taken it down, suspecting that there would be some kind of backlash from the society. So what is your opinion over this topic? Over the action of Netflix. Let's not get into the content of the movie. I'll just summarize the movie for you. But do you think it's the right step to do, or?
Sir, I think the Constitution provides for right to freedom and expression. In that sense, Netflix shouldn't have done that. But many times, if that the Article 19 also put certain restrictions like health and morality. On that ground, we can impose reasonable restriction. If such kind of restriction is coming within that limit, it is okay. Otherwise, we have to protect the right to freedom and
Right to express, does it include right to offend?
I think no, sir.
No.
I'm not completely aware of that.
So if there is a cartoon offending, let's say, the chief minister of your state, should it be banned?
So what I think is earlier we had a lot.
What is that reasonable restriction about?
So the defamation of any particular individual, if that is doing like that, then there should be a reasonable restriction.
The Constitution mentions what grounds are there for reasonable restrictions. Are you aware?
Yes, sir.
What are those?
First, public order, friendly relation with foreign nations, contempt of court, and These are the few things I can remember, sir.
So you must have done some project work in your post-graduation.
Yes, sir.
What was that?
So in every semester we had the field work. That the first field work was related to rural development, and second field work was related to urban development. And I have also done a project on Forest Right Act implementation.
So the post-graduation degree that you have done,
Yes, sir.
many feel that it's more of a, you can say that it's not more of a scholastic thing, but it requires a lot of experience or being in that position actually to learn the art of it. So I personally am of the opinion that this particular course needs some kind of change in the curriculum. What do you feel about it?
So the course per se is an interdisciplinary course, and it combines many of the skills and many of the domains. Like for example, we are taught to learn the GIS mapping and many things, like we are associating with NGOs and how to do the field level works. And in that sense, I think the course is good, but there are scope for improvement. Like we can associate with many research bodies and all. In that sense, there is scope for improvement.
So when you entered the course, what was the ultimate aim in your mind except civil services? If civil services was the aim in mind, then tell me your plan B.
So the plan B will be the research opportunities that is opened by the course, and we had a lot of research opportunities in many part of institution. Like we can pursue a PhD in many. For example, many of my friends has pursued PhD in IIT Bombay and University of Sussex, and even in UN, and that will be my plan B.
Dr. Lal.
Amrutha, I can see that you have done economics for your graduation.
Yes, sir.
Then you moved into development policy. And records say that you come from Kerala.
Yes, sir.
So Kerala is not a rich state.
Yes, sir.
But still, when it comes to social indicators, it's number one.
Yes, sir.
So as a student of economics and development, how do you explain it? What's your take on it?
Even if we considering the state domestic product, we are not in par with other states, but the social indicators is very much in par with developed countries. That is because of our huge investment in the social sectors like education and health. And we also had an early bird advantage. Like for example, the missionaries propagated education here, and the nursing industry was very much popular in Kerala even before the state government was investing into that. And the education bill, land reform, everything led to the equitable distribution of wealth to some extent. And in that sense, Kerala had already an advantage, and then government also built on that by investing a lot of amount, or around our 40% of the local self-government income is going to the social sector. That is the main reason for high HDI.
So Kerala is still maintaining what you call number one status in terms of social indicators.
Yes, sir.
What about finance? We are hearing a lot of news about crisis in Kerala, financial crisis. What do you think about it?
So the financial crisis is mainly because of the own source generation of Kerala is very much not in par with other states, because of we don't have a highly productive secondary sector, and that is one of the reason. And if you consider the new tax regime or the finance commission devolution to the state funding, it has reduced from around 2.9% to 1.9% when it comes to the 15th finance commission. And other issues are around 70% of our revenue expenditure is 70% of our income is spent on revenue expenditure that is not producing any tangible output, and the capital expenditure is very low, and we are also resorting to off-budget borrowing, and so that the central government has reduced our capacity to borrow further. And these are the some reasons I can recall, sir.
One more question about your hobby.
Yes, sir.
I saw that cooking is your hobby. We don't see many male candidates writing cooking as a hobby. What do you think about it?
Mostly maybe the patriarchal thing that might be the cause, and many a times the girls in the home, they have the responsibility to do the household work. But in my case, we didn't have such system in home. But earlier I used to treat my guests with food, and they opined very nice thing about my cooking. So I got interested into that. Then I pursued cooking as my hobby.
So, Amrutha, you did development, policy, planning, and practice. So it is said in India, policy making and planning is done very well, but it sort of fails in practice. What do you think so? Why do you think it is being said so?
So it might be because of the lack of ground level knowledge on the part of policy implementers. Many a times policy are made in the top to down approach, but I think the trend is changing right now. For example, in case of aspirational district policy, the Niti Aayog is evaluating the policy on the basis of key performance indicators, and we are moving towards the evidence-based and demand-driven policy making. So in that sense, I think the trend is changing, and the policy formulation and implementation at ground level is improving.
But then, don't you think the policy makers have had a ground level experience at the beginning of their careers? For example, the administrative service officers, all of them have had a ground level experience at the beginning of their careers. So, isn't it wrong what you said right now?
So initially they have the ground level knowledge, but while policy formulation, I think the participation of ground level people is important. Many times, the demand of the beneficiaries that may get undermined.
So, why do you think such consultations are not happening in our country?
So that's what I'm saying. The trend is changing.
Okay.
We are currently going for demand-driven participatory policy making.
Yes. So you mentioned that you studied the implementation of Forest Rights Act 2006.
Yes.
So why do you think it's a failure? Or would you say it is a failure?
So I won't say that it is a failure per se. I have in my field work, I have experienced that many of the forest dwellers have got the land actually in some of the part of Wayanad district, especially in the Tirunelli area, and there is also the issue of there might be some issue with the forest official and the Gram Sabhas, but I think it is implemented in a
There are
good
two
manner.
kind of rights mentioned in Forest Rights Act. What are those?
One is, I think, community rights
Mhm.
for collecting minor forest produce and all, and another is developmental right. For example, if the land is
One is individual and the other is community.
Okay.
Individual is where the land gets transferred. Community is where the. So which part of it has failed?
So can I take a few seconds? So many times the people are not able to prove that they are the inhabitants of land for 3 generations, and sometimes there is like procedural issues with proving that, and so I can identify this issue only.
You said you studied GIS mapping.
Yes, sir.
Has it been used in Forest Right Act case anywhere?
So I'm not aware of that.
So what is the difference between Carnatic music and Hindustani music?
So if you consider the origin of both Carnatic and Hindustani music, one is originated in the north part of India and another is in south part. And if we consider the technicalities, for example, in case of Gamagas, it is known as mean in Hindustani music. That is, the note is gliding. And in case of Carnatic music, the notes are oscillating, and it is known as Kampila. There is lot of scope for improvisation in Hindustani music, but in case of Carnatic music, we have to strictly follow the composition or the formula of, and strictly we have to follow the raga. But Hindustani music, for the musician, have more freedom to improvise on that. And another thing is the instrument. There is difference in instrument. In Hindustani music, the sarod, tabla, santur, that kind of instruments are mostly used. But in Carnatic music, we usually use violin, kadam, and mridangam, etc.
Okay, so are you sure that the Hindustani music originated in the north?
So it has some regional or Persian influence, but in my
Originated in the north India itself.
I believe so.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so why do you like only South Indian Carnatic, South Indian melodies? What do you find wrong with the North Indian cinematic melodies?
So I also listen to the North Indian cinematic melodies, but I am more familiar with the South Indian cinematic melodies.
So you tend to like more the things you are more familiar with. Would you say so?
So I think as a hobby, I have to know something about my hobby. So I am more familiar with South Indian cinematic melodies. Only because of that I could like that.
Alright, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Amrutha. Just
Thank
nice
you.
interacting with you. We'll call you shortly, okay?
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Please wait outside.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes, boss.
She had a very well drafted DAF
Right.
at one point. Because when I go and tell her how to fill the DAF, she has like done it very well.
Right.
Same thing show in her content about the things that she knows.
Yeah.
Right.
Things that she knows, they are very well put forward. What I felt is, though the content is good, but still she is a little less confident. Just
Yeah.
2 notches.
Slightly
down.
hesitating.
So I know how to improve that. I'll be telling her that separately.
Right.
Apart from that, because quizzing is one of the hobbies and some direct fact-based questions, she said sorry for them, which is acceptable also, but she can maybe make an attempt to take.
What I find wrong in her attitude is that she is taking this as an interview by Kerala State PSC. Okay, she is not under the assumption that a national board is asking her the questions. Okay,
Right.
as if we are supposed to know Micah Mohammed Bashir and Sarah Joseph, she was answering,
Yeah.
which is a great crime. It is a great crime. Maybe this is her first mock interview itself, that's why she is committing that. So if we try to change that, because she is supposed to inform us first about something, more than name dropping something. For example, this Forest Right Act also, Wayanad Tirunelli was her case study. And based on that Wayanad Tirunelli, she assumes that it is successful everywhere. So either she has to go pan-India in her outlook, approach, answering specific names and all, otherwise she will land in great trouble. She forgets that she is attending Union Public Service Commission interview. She tends to believe that this is a normal board which I already know, kind of.
Yeah, we should tone down the criticism also. She is very
Yes.
time.
Very nervous.
Yes. That's the only thing
Yeah.
she should be wary about.
But it's a right point.
Right point.
Otherwise,
Well,
she
we
will
can
get in
mention
trouble.
that.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
See, lack of confidence, especially in the beginning. Lack of confidence will
That
communicate.
Amrutha my question
That question.
derailed her. That's why.
That's how it happened with me.
It happens.
Nobody
That's
asked me
why
to introduce myself.
Yeah.
I straight away went and they said, they looked at the DAF and said, tell me about that. I not even had sat down properly.
It can happen
So,
many times.
but the first question they'll ignore also.
Yeah.
You're drawn to. They also understand that okay, she's not yet settled in. It's fine. So, but yeah, that kind of unsettled. She was not expecting.
But you should be prepared for that.
Then we will tell her that because it would be her first mock interview itself. So
But
she will improvise for
but I
sure.
would give it to her that after that question, whatever
Yeah, she.
he
Yeah.
Right,
then
right.
like stood up also after that.
And many times she assumes that we are supposed to know many things. So why are you asking this to me? You already know this, right? Then why are you asking this to me, kind of a situation? Though we are asking for her opinion, she is trying to load with facts. Even when you are asking her opinion, somebody asked about her opinion on something, she gave a factual reply. What was that question? on one question, it happened like that. We asked about her opinion, but she was giving.
But I think we can,
Ah,
the confidence part, and that is
Communication skill was also initially affected. The way she communicated.
Yeah, after a while she settled
And then she settled down. So maybe she
We
can
can
answer
ask
on the initial part, how to start. And
yeah. For me, same thing. One is of course the way initially it was unsettling for her, and from there, essentially, what are the leads that she brings into, right?
Let's
So-
ask her how she felt.
Yeah, that would be
That
the
would
best
be-
way.
Okay.
The God woman part was completely off. From there, it went to undereducated unemployment and this thing. And then I'm not very sure, at least in certain aspects of, because she has read writing, economics is a strong suit, even in leadership and other things. Economics questions are bound to happen. And if economics questions are bound to happen, she should be prepared for it.
Yes, Amrutha. The tension now also.
No, sir.
So Amrutha, you have a very well drafted DAF. Let me give this to you right in the beginning. Right?
Thanks.
Now, we want to know how did you feel about the interview that just.
Self-appraisal kind of a thing. Just give your own version of how it went.
So there was a lot of scope for improvement for me. I have to concentrate on opinion-based questions, and I also have to build some more content. I think in my DAF, I didn't prepare well on FRA and all, so I can improve on that.
Okay. So I have a few positives to say to begin with. Okay. As I said, well drafted DAF, which also shows in the content that you are aware about, right? When that thing is being discussed and you start speaking, that shows that kind of like inline material is evident. Another good thing that you did was during the interview, whenever you can bring in some real life example or a real life story, it gives a very good connect. You did it twice when I was noticing, like while explaining about the cuisine and on some work done in college, right? These are the good points. Now, I have a question to ask. Though the content, I would rate it as good, but still, why are you little less confident in delivering that content? So, there is a gap between the two.
Okay, sir.
And this gap widens even further when the content is also a little, you're unsure about the content. Then this gap becomes even more evident.
Okay.
So I have a suggestion for it. I should have spoken it in the last, but I will do it here itself. The easiest way to bridge this gap is by doing mirror reading, right? But many people just say that, do mirror reading. Do you exactly know how to do mirror reading?
No, sir.
So now, like very carefully listen to this and try to do this if you can. Many people just say do mirror reading. They don't tell you what to do in that, right? So first of all, you have to get a mirror which is 2/3 of your height, right? And every day you have to spend almost half an hour in front of the mirror. You just place the mirror on the floor. It should start from the floor. It's 2/3 of your height. So when you're sitting on a chair in front of it, you can see yourself from head to toe, complete, right? And you have to behave like an old Doordarshan news lady. There was no teleprompter at that time, right? So you have to speak up by looking at a paper with a few glances to the audience in that case, and in this case, a few glances to yourself in the mirror. And your voice and tone is fine, but just to keep in mind, it is like as if you are reading the material to a blind person, let's say. Okay? So that must be the volume of your tone, and you have to read it with a few glances to yourself. What you have to read it, what you have to read basically. So the beginning point should be the newspaper because you are doing it every day, right? So try doing it like that. Then gradually shift on to the material you have prepared or the transcripts you have prepared or the questions that you have prepared, that if this question is asked then I will say this, if this question is asked then I say this. Start doing this. Within a span of 2 weeks, that gap which is that divide which is evident, it will start shrinking.
Okay, sir. I will do it.
Spend 30-40 minutes daily on this, right? And it would be even more better that if you do this in the same attire that you're planning to wear in the interview. I'm not saying that if you are planning to wear a blue colored sari, then every day wear a blue colored sari. A sari means a sari.
Okay, sir.
Try doing this. It will make you more comfortable in your element. So that the feeling that the personality trait that we are trying to achieve, where it will come faster if all the elements are in control.
Thank you, sir.
Right. One thing that I noticed is that you assume that we know Michael Mohammed Bashir, Sarah Joseph and all. We don't know them, okay?
Okay, sir. Okay.
You got, just because your optional is literature of Malayalam language, you cannot assume that we are all thorough with Malayalam language.
Yes, sir.
And that was one slight mistake that you committed, because you presumed that we know Sarah Joseph, you presumed that we know Michael Mohammed Bashir. Then why are you asking such foolish questions? Don't you know Bashir? No, we don't know Bashir.
Okay, sir. I understand.
Got me?
Yes, sir.
Then whenever you give empirical evidences,
Yes, sir.
be broader or give a pan-India approach kind of a thing. Just because for us, you know Wayanad and Tirunelveli, and it happened in Wayanad and Tirunelveli like that, then it would have happened elsewhere also the same way. You cannot assume this presumption kind of a thing will not work.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so that we need to be careful about. This is your first mock interview?
This is my third mock interview, sir.
Third mock interview this season.
Yes, sir. This
is
my
your first interview
Yes,
for
sir.
the civil services,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes,
And this
sir.
is your third mock interview.
Yes, sir.
Right. And when is your interview?
Date didn't come.
That means later February or March,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, first is actually the initial question I felt kind of unsettled. You probably
But
was
that,
not-
that you can expect being Amrutha, okay?
So it could be anything. It need not be always an introduce yourself
Okay, sir.
kind of question, right? So, and that you were not expecting that question, and how will it go there? So, but which is okay also.
Okay, sir.
And the good thing that was observed was even after that you were unsettled, you actually came back to your elements, and then you were able to answer. So which was pretty good. On the content part, I would say because a lot of things is about presentation, but you need content, right?
Yes, sir.
And even if 30 minutes also you need that.
Yes, sir.
So on that economics, because multiple times economics come,
Yes, sir.
right? Not once. So at least thrice it comes in your DAF.
Yes, sir.
BA, I think development policy, and then third on your leadership or scholarship or something like your awards and all.
Yes, sir.
So that there you have to be slightly more prepared.
Okay,
Right,
sir.
from a content basis, and it can be just reading the current newspapers or finance commission. Now you mentioned yourself finance commission. Now right now a new finance commission, so you can expect a question on finance commission and how it is going to be, because that is going to be one of the things. So probably the economic survey would have come by the time.
Budget and elections would be the two big events around your interview, right?
Yeah.
Budget is completely economics, and the election this year is all about development. So be clear about both these.
Yes, yes.
Right.
Thank you.
So that and of course planning, development policy planning, some of those questions are there. Questions on like you can like he said, or let's say the question was on Forest Rights Act, right? The better way that any of these questions which can be there are various varying kind of successes depending on areas, right? The place where I work. If you're starting the sentence like that, but the place where I worked actually a relatively successful implementation of Forest Right Act owing to XYZ reasons. But there are other regions where it has not been. But I think you yourself assess that Forest Right Act is something again you should be studying well about.
Yes.
Otherwise, yeah, I don't see much of a negative to say. But I would argue that you can be a little more assertive, little more confident,
Okay, sir.
right? And catch the attention of
Okay.
the panel, right?
Okay, sir.
We should be eager to listen to your next sentence,
Okay.
that what is coming out of you.
Okay, sir.
If you are able to catch that attention, demand that attention, I think the interview is yours.
Okay, sir.
Okay?
Yeah.
So that's all from us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, so you were looking confident, pleasant, but I would echo his opinion. You can be more assertive. And see, I used to be part of UN, so I was WHM. So we used to train our candidates like this. See, mirror reading I'm getting good first time, but we used to ask them to write down what you want, especially first few questions. Especially when it comes to attitude, write down, because when it comes to when the question comes to you for the first time, you may fumble. But if you have written, so certain connections and all those things are already, you write down and practice. And naturally, being a woman from Kerala, so these gender-related questions may come up. I'm not sure about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so you should be more prepared about bring forward your attitude towards gender equity and those kind of things. Otherwise, it was.
Rights and all, you shouldn't fumble. Fundamental rights and all. You've studied it so many times, you've passed now, right? So when you talk about expression, freedom to express or right to freedom of expression, you should know what are the reasonable restrictions. So defamation is it a reasonable?
No, sir.
See, doesn't matter. What I'm saying is because you are the one who is putting this forward, right? As a defense to your right to religion or right to freedom of expression or any of that. So constitution you cannot fumble.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Especially fundamental rights part you cannot fumble.
Yeah.
That would mean sign a slightly less prepared
Okay.
aspect of it.
Okay.
But just go through it. It's just one page maximum.
Yes, sir. Yes, definitely.
And one thing that you should be careful about is don't load your answers with more and more content. More than content, you can give your opinion. If questions will more be on that side, okay.
Okay, sir.
So, and don't go and prepare stuff. You need to prepare stuff, but more than preparing the content part, you prepare how to present the content that you are already having with you.
Your application.
You have the content with
on
you.
that.
Once you are very thorough about, we know that, but we are not able to put it across. So that part you should be more careful about.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's exactly what I wanted to say. Don't overdo that. Like you told, I need to be more prepared with my content.
It's not about
Just
the
focus
content as
on what
such.
you already know. Don't do a lot of things. But if you want, you can look at the latest events, which is of pertinence to your DAF as well as your subject. And also, when you talk to the panel, be aware that they may not have access to, or they may not have read newspaper for all the year, but the days leading up to the interview, they would have definitely read. So try to bring in recent events, and also when you bring in stuff, try to make the interview more about stuff we all could connect with. And the board also, they will be from very diverse backgrounds, and also they would know something about everything. So try to bring in stuff which is of interest to everyone. That's all. And please don't read or overdo stuff. Now you know stuff. The only thing which we would like to emphasize is focus on telling it assertively, your opinions, your experiences, and examples. Try to make it a pan-India thing. That's all.
Did you get the video transcript of your earlier mock interviews? Did you go through that?
Yes, sir.
Did you identify the mistakes in that or the so-called mistakes in that? Did you analyze it carefully?
So I just understood few things like my volume is not that like since it is weak, the people may think that I am underconfident. That is one issue I identified. And if I'm nervous, I won't be able to properly express myself. That is another issue. And as you all said, sir, I may feel little underconfident. That is.
That's only in the beginning. Later on,
But that's why I raised the point. You feel underconfident. My question is why? When the content is good enough, then why are you feeling underconfident?
This is not
You don't have
UPSC
to-
mains, Amrutha.
Yes,
This is
sir.
not UPSC mains. This is personality test.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go. So this is the 30 minutes that you are having with you, not with us. Make the most of it.
Okay, sir.
don't bother about the content. Even if it's bad, it is.
You won't be getting a second chance. This is the final last chance that you're getting. Enjoy. Ash karo.
Okay, sir.
Got it?
Yes, sir.
Be cool there.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
No, it was overall very well presented. You have time also.
Yes, sir.
So you must have got a lot of tips from here. Okay.
Go
How
through
do
all
you think
the-
this mock interview compared to the previous one? Do you think you have improved?
Yes, sir, definitely. Yeah. Because in previous interview, actually they didn't emphasize my weakness so much. They were like, they said I am accommodative, I am like that, and they didn't say any negative things about me.
You are concerned about the volume, it's not an issue at all.
Yeah, actually we didn't
Either
feel
you
that.
have improved it or it's
We
not
didn't
an
feel
issue.
that.
Because this much distance is not there in
It's
the
not there.
report. You're
Okay, sir.
right here, so volume is not an issue at all.
Okay. Okay, sir.
There is some settings in some rooms you can be this far out, but even if when you're this far, volume was not an issue at all.
Have you been to Delhi before?
No, sir.
You are going for the first time.
Yes.
So what are your plans like? You will be there for at least 5 days in advance,
So
attending one mock there. What are your plans like?
I think I'm planning to stay there for 2 weeks.
That's good. Okay,
then-
before the interview itself. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And then attend at least 1 or 2 mock.
4 or 5 months.
4 or 5 mocks. Okay, right. You
I'm
need to attend.
planning
That's what I
to-
was trying to tell you. You need to attend 1 or 2 mocks. Then you will understand that the audience, the interviewers are sitting there. They are
Yes.
not from your state. Then they will ask you questions of multiple kind and all.
Yes.
Once
It
you
might be of your state also.
Ah.
So don't mislead.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right.
All the very best.
All the
Thank
best.
Thank
Go
you, sir.
through the
Thank-
script. Okay, video transcript.
Okay, sir.
Then understand it, analyze it more meaningfully.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.